Christopher Mosier, and welcome to this week's Fan Film Podcast. This week we're going to be talking with Fanboy Will about his experiences he had at this year's New York Comic-Con, held at the Javits Center. Along with that, he'll be talking about the fan film panel that he was a part of, called The History and Future, that was hosted by Mr. Clive Young, who also provided the audio from the panel. So we'll be talking about that and listening to the audio. So let's get started.
To the Batmobile. Let's go.
Atomic batteries to power. Turbines to speed.
Here, ready to move out.
Faster than a speeding bullet. More powerful than a locomotive. Able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. This amazing stranger from the planet Krypton, the Man of Steel,
Fanboy Will.
Empowered with X-ray vision, possessing remarkable physical strength,
Fanboy Will.
fights a never-ending battle for truth and justice, disguised as a mild-mannered newspaper reporter, Clark Kent.
Go ahead and give us your New York Comic-Con Jarvis Center convention update. Or your experience.
Well, we'll start with Friday, being the first day, obviously, of the convention. Since I got in on a creator pass, I was able to have access to the show about 3 hours before the general public. So that means that, artists, creators, vendors all have free reign of the floor for about 3 hours or so to do whatever they want without crowds and all that. If you're a creator or a vendor or anybody who's going to be contributing to the show in any way, really, you get to have the first 3 hours of Friday to yourself to just walk around and do whatever. So I spent those 3 hours pretty much just trying to meet some people, handed out a lot of cards from the show that you made up. Thank you very much.
Yay!
And people liked them. They thought they were cool. Did a little shopping here and there, of course. Bought me some action figures. What else is new? And hit the dollar bins. Got some comics. And so that was pretty much Friday. I went back to the hotel. And Saturday, my girlfriend joined me. She came over on Saturday morning. And we met up Saturday. And it was Magic Day. It was a day of the convention. So all day before that, I basically hung out, did the same old thing, did the shopping, did the, networking for the show.
Yeah.
I really didn't come across a lot of, movie people, per se, but I did come across, a couple little, independent type, either horror or sci-fi type people, and I just handed them our card.
Oh, cool.
I was like, we do everything, we do fan films especially, but, as well as Fanboy Theatre, I also do other stuff. I mean, you do stuff on the bin, too, that's kind of, quote-unquote, a fan film.
As long as it sticks around kind of the genre of, sci-fi.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I mean, I'm not going to approach anybody who's doing, a fucking Huckleberry Finn movie.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It has to be, something close to what we're doing.
Exactly.
I don't know where I got that from. I just reached in, the hat, and pulled it out. It wasn't a rabbit. Anyway, so, I did a couple of those, got some thank yous, and thanks for the card, and we'll definitely check it out. But who knows who did and who didn't. One thing I'm kind of regretting is I didn't get to the podcast arena because I was so busy doing the other stuff, and I didn't get a chance to go over there. But there was a lot. There was there was probably about 11 podcast shows there. A few of them I'm familiar with. I know when Comic Geek Speak, that one.
Yep.
That's a big one. That's a great site. Great show, I should say. These two gals, one of them I think is from England, and the other one's from here. It's called Birds of Prey or something, or it's a Birds of Prey takeoff title.
Okay.
But, they do comics. That's their thing. They were there. A couple other people.
Two chicks doing it. That's cool.
Yeah, two chicks. One from abroad and one from here. So foreign and domestic. And that was pretty much it. There's a couple other little shows here and there, but who knows? Maybe next time or another convention, maybe we can get on, do a little show live from a convention one day.
Yeah, I would have never thought of that there would be tables set up specifically for podcasts.
There was a lot of them. I remember last time there was a scattering of them, but this time they had their own section and everything.
That's awesome.
So that means how, it shows you how big they're getting.
Right.
And you knew about my Stan Lee debacle, right?
Yeah.
That was kind of disappointing. Well, for those of you who don't know, I haven't told everyone in the world, so obviously a lot of you don't know, but Stan Lee was appearing at the show, And one of my dreams since I was about 10 years old has been, meet Stan Lee, because he's like the man. He's up there with like Kirby and everybody. So I said, I'm going to meet him today. I was determined on Saturday. I was like, this is the day. I got a feeling. So I knew there were lines forming to get tickets to go see Stan Lee, and then they were limited. So whenever I saw a small gathering of people, I would be like, oh, I wonder if that's a Stan Lee group. And I'd run over and ask them. After about 3 or 4 times, I was getting frustrated. I said, damn it, I'm never going to find these lines. And then I saw like 4 or 5 different guys lined up, and I was like, you guys, is this the Stan Lee line? They kind of gave me like this weird look, like inside club look, like this thing going on, that I didn't know about. And I was like, they kind of looked at me and went, yeah, it is actually. And I was like, oh, cool, so now I can wait. So I got to know these gentlemen and struck up a conversation and, joked around. The guys actually gave me beer. I don't know what that was about, but they had free beers for me, so that was a good thing. So I waited on the line, and supposedly there was like 15 tickets being given out that day, which is bullshit. They should really change that. But anyway, so there's like 15 tickets being given out.
That's
okay,
insane.
I'm number, I think, 16 or 17 in the line.
Why, does he fall asleep after the 15 or something?
I don't know, man. That's what we were saying. I'm like, whatever his friggin' ticker's going to give out or something. Otherwise, he's got like the Iron Man heart. He's got to go like charge up his battery. Otherwise, he's going to croak. The guys ahead of me are like, don't worry, bro, you're with us. Like at that point, we formed some kind of drunken pact.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't worry, bro, we're going to hook you up, man. I've seen Stan like 2 or 3 times, gotten his autograph. I'm here to see, Alex Ross today, who is appearing that day also.
Yeah,
so
another sweet guy.
Yeah, I've met him anyway, so they were like, hey, dude, you can just take one of my tickets. And I'm like, really? It's like the Willy Wonka ticket. I'm like, really?
I've got a golden ticket. I've got a golden twinkle in my eye. I got a golden chance to make my way.
So I'm all happy, and I have the ticket, and, we had to wait about 3 hours before he showed up after the line. And, I went back to doing my thing, walking around, went to go get my girlfriend again, and came back to the show, and I realized, guess what? I lost the ticket.
What the fuck?
So that was the end of my meeting meeting my Stan Lee wish. That was the end.
So close, but yet.
I know. I had it, like my girlfriend said, it's probably not meant to be right now, so that made me feel a little better.
Did you want to get into the fan film panel?
Okay. We were looking for the room, me and my girlfriend. We were walking around the convention. We couldn't find it. Finally, we asked somebody who knew what the hell they were doing, and they told us where to go. And we walked in, and the place was really, really big, and it was like the panel wing had probably like, Jesus Christ, like 40 or 50 doors, and there was like all these panels going on, all these lines of people, and I'm like, I wonder if anybody's lined up for us.
Were you nervous? Were you intimidated? What were you feeling?
I was a little nervous, but I was confident at the same time because I'm going in there knowing what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going in there like I didn't study for a test the night before. I'm screwed.
Right.
It's like I knew what I was talking about, and I was with people I already knew,
True.
So it was kind of comfortable. So I showed up, and sure enough, no line for us. There was nobody, except there was about 3 people. And I said to myself, I wonder if these guys are like the creators, or because I've never met Dan Poole in person. I've never met, Mr. Bertocci. Is it pronounced Bertocci or Bertocci? Adam Bertocci.
I'm not sure.
From theforce.net.
Yeah,
Please forgive me, Adam, if I didn't, pronounce your last name right. But anyway, so I saw these 2 or 3 dudes, and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, are you Fanboy Will? And I'm like, yeah. And I recognized Dan Poole from his pictures. I didn't at first. I was like, oh, Dan, how you doing, man? I got to meet Dan. He was a really, really cool guy. He was really cool to talk to him. He was like a really just genuine, nice guy, very approachable. Wasn't like a egotistical kind of a dude.
Awesome.
He was just... So I talked to him about, Green Goblin's Last Stand real quick, and then I kind of jumped into the Last Call, which isn't exactly his most well-known
the
film, but he made a Wolverine fan film
exactly.
for people who don't know, called Last Call. So we talked about that a little bit, and then that led into me asking him about his Captain America movie that never got released. He was working on a Captain America movie for it must be maybe 6 years now, at least.
Yeah.
And he was trying different suits and getting different people. Things just weren't working out. So unfortunately, they had to kind of scrap the project. But, we were still left with the 2. We have Spider-Man and Green Goblin's Last Stand.
Yeah, I do remember when when that was on his website.
Yeah. So now it's kind of like you go there, and he's actually got a new film coming out. It's in the superhero genre, sci-fi genre. I forget what it's called. Do you remember from the audio, Chris?
No, I don't. I remember it was supposed to be originally for the first version when they tried If You Want to Be a Superhero.
That's right. He talked about that.
Yeah.
So, he actually showed... Well, I'll get to that later.
All right.
Then I met Adam. I never met Adam before, so it was cool to meet him, too. He was really nice.
Now, what is
Didn't really
he
have...
doing for the ForceNet?
He's a moderator on the Force.net, and he's also... I don't know if you've ever seen a little film, Run, Leia, Run.
No, I know it's out there. I've never watched it.
It's a great movie. It's really funny. I suggest seeing it. It's a crudely animated adaptation of Run, Lola, Run.
Okay, right.
If you want to get really indie, film geeky, originally Rent, Lola, Rent, which is the German version. It's a really good independent film if you want to go check that out.
I like
Have
the
you ever
soundtrack.
seen that?
I've never seen the movie. I like the soundtrack.
It's very hyper.
Yeah.
You're like, Jesus. Thinking in like smoke a pack of cigarettes before this.
Right.
Drink some bacon grease. Have a heart attack. So yeah, he's the director of that film, the creator, and I don't know if you know about modern indie bands at all, but have you ever heard of a band called the Arcade Fire?
Definitely not.
They're really good. They sound kind of like a modern day Talking Heads, I'd say.
Okay.
I'm a big Talking Heads fan, so that's saying a lot. So got to meet, and he said that one of the co-creators of that film is actually one of the guys from the band from from Arcade Fire.
Mm-hmm.
So that was kind of cool, little information.
A little trivia.
Little random trivia fact there. You can add that to your trivia questions maybe sometime down the line.
Sure.
So he did that, and he also did a brand new film. It's kind of funny. It's like a hipster version of Star Wars, and he's like making fun of hipsters in Brooklyn, like using the Star Wars, storytelling style and the characters and weaponry, lightsabers and all that. So it's kind of funny. He actually showed a little bit of it. So I met him, and then we went into the panel, and I was looking around for Chris Notarile. I couldn't see him anywhere. I was waiting for him to be there, like, with everybody else waiting. I said, that's funny for Chris to be late, because he's, like, never late for anything. So I'm like, because he was walking around the convention as Blue Beetle. Everybody and their mother was going, hey, Chris, can we take a picture? Hey, look at your man, Blue Beetle, how do you do? So there was a lot of that going on, so we got caught up in that, and he showed up, he's all, like, sweaty. He's like, hey, guys, sorry about that. I was like, you're probably getting mauled by the public, weren't you? So we went to the convention, and there were, like, into the hall, I should say, and there was, like, maybe, 15 people already in there. So I'm saying to myself, maybe they kind of, like, watched the first show, and they're just kind of chilling, and they're waiting for the next one to come in. I didn't know. So we walked in, we started setting up the audio. Oh, of course, stupid of me, I met Clive Young also.
Oh, yeah.
Left out the guy who actually brought us there. Very, very cool dude, as, like the rest of the fellas, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
And we started jazzing a little bit, and then went in, with the small crowd in there, started setting up the audio, got in our seats. I was expecting to see like a little thingamajig on there, like a little plaque, Fanboy Will.
Oh, yeah.
You know how the big time people get those little the signs in front of them, So I guess we weren't big enough, so we didn't get those. But we did get a water pitcher and I believe 5 glasses.
Excellent.
With no water in the pitcher. There was none. And I had like anxiety mouth. You get all scared, your mouth gets all dry. So I was getting mad anxiety mouth. So I reached into my bag and I pulled out half a bottle of piss warm water I had. And I drank that for the convention. Clive set up the magic with the projector and the audio. He tried his best with the audio. He was being a little bitchy with us, but so we all got seated, and before you know it, like a bunch of people started piling in, and I'm kind of like gradually noticing it. I'm like, this is cool. A lot of people here. There's 30 people. Then there's 40 people. Then there's like 60 people, and I'm like, holy shit! Like the convention hall was filling up, and there's a lot of seats in there. And, Chris really turned to me. He's like, dude, we got a decent crowd here. I was like, yeah. I'd like to think it was for us.
I was just going to mention that.
But I'll get to the other thing afterwards. So I kind of just figured, hey, maybe there's a lot of fan film people there in the audience, or maybe they're either waiting for somebody else to come on. It could be. But either way, by the time we started getting into it, the entire place was packed. There were people standing. There were people sitting on the frickin' floor. There were people by the back doors sticking their heads in periodically, like, boop, boop. to see what was going on in there.
That's cool.
And so, hey, man, we were going at.
Well,
and, Clive introduced us. Started off with a little introduction of himself, and then talked about why he was there, why we were there, and then he kind of just passed on the mic to us and had us introduce ourselves. And we went down the line. I believe it was Chris to me. There was it was Chris to Dan Galiardi, and then Galiardi to Notarile, I believe, and I was next to Chris. And then there was Dan Poole. No, it was Adam Bertocci on my right, and to the far right was Mr. Dan Poole.
Well, sorry about that. I couldn't really see much of it with the lights on. It's mostly shot in the dark.
It's starting again.
Got it. Yeah, okay.
There's no lights?
So it was shot mostly in Chinatown, the first part for the ninja scene. If you want to see the whole thing and hopefully better lighting. I mean, it's still a little dark on YouTube, but you can see most of it. It was shot for a class. I do teach a class at Five Towns College in Long Island. It's called Comics to Film. I pitched the class a few years ago. I've taught it a few times. And for it, we basically talk about how translating superhero movies from comics to film. And I try to throw a bunch of those things in. Today we do have the person who played Iron Fist, Albert Lamont. He's over here. We have also Sue, the guy, one of the ninjas who gets hit in the face. He's also the guy in the wheelchair. He's over there as well. And if you come up and see them, they have a few DVDs of the copies if you're interested to give away. I think they only have like 4 copies or so, but if you're interested, you can come up and see them. They're over there. They have also Greg, the editor's out there as well. He's here as well, and he did an excellent job of editing the whole thing. If you get a chance to see it, I'm kind of annoyed that you couldn't really see it here. It is very dark overall. And then that's about it for the whole thing. We only have a few minutes each, so I'll turn it over here to Chris, and he can talk a few things about his fan films.
Hi. I don't know what I want to say. What? I don't know what I want to say, so I guess if anybody has any questions for me, just let them out, man. I want to say hand. I don't care. I'll put the goggles on later when I leave. What? Did someone say something stupid? Are you single? Am I single? I can be. Oh.
He doesn't have a girlfriend, but he just knows someone that would be really mad if she heard her say.
No, I'm married to Catwoman, actually. Sorry. But,
Men can say that.
Cock block. I've made about, how many films did I make, dude?
12, maybe?
No, more than 12.
Think so?
I've had to make, 20.
Doesn't your website say 35 or something?
Well, I've made, 95 short films entirely, probably. I don't know. I've done the gamut. I've done, Blue Beetle, Question, Catwoman, Power Girl, Booster Gold, Joker, Our Man, Shadow, Jack Burton meets Nick Plissken, and I laugh at that one. Basically, what I try to do is I try to take the underdog superheroes, the ones that no one cares about or have been mistreated or abused in comic books, and try to give them their spotlight and give them justice. One of the things that I try to do with my filmmaking is that I try to bring a sense of realism to it, even though you're dealing for the most part with outlandish characters. I don't treat them like comic book characters. I treat them like real people who do stuff, and by doing so, I try to shoot them as if it were just a regular movie. And yay! A little late on that one, but thanks. Can you just put those lights back on now? That'd be great.
He's kidding.
No, I'm really serious.
Okay, I'm sorry. They're only going to be able to do it one time.
Are we showing anything else?
Yes.
Just because you don't have anything to show.
Oh, shut up, Spider-Man. Over there. Put my blue foot up your ass. So anyway, that will happen if he puts a costume on.
Well, let's get a camera and make a movie out of it.
We'll do a fan film about a fan film. Does anybody have any questions first? Because if not, I'm going to pass it over to this guy. And I could talk forever. All right, fine. Jerks.
Hi,
Hi, everybody. How are you? Thanks for coming out today, supporting fan films. Pretty much been in a good fight to protect fan films since about 2001. Started up a website called fanboytheatre.com, and I started it because I thought fan films were so great, but there's really no venue to show them on. There's no showcase, or the only thing I knew about at the time was fanfilms.net, which is still going today. It's going pretty strong today, and I like to think that they're up to par with me a little bit. But I just started up because I love fan films, want to support these guys, because the stuff they do is great, little to no budget. It's all just his heart, you know, and that's pretty much why I started up the site. To showcase talent that I thought was, unrecognized, and being a big comic book fan, they're obviously doing films about comic book characters that I like, that I've never seen in Hollywood, or they could never get right. So that's why I started it up. Hold on there.
I wanted to add what you were going to say, but you go ahead.
Okay. Now I moved on to the podcast venue, where me and my friend Chris Mosier, who's a fellow fan film reviewer, we've started up a podcast where we do interviews. I interviewed this cat over here, a couple other people. We're in episode 8 right now. Mr. Galiardi, I did him a couple episodes in Dirty, but I did him a couple episodes ago. And so we're keeping the torch going with the podcast and with Fanboy Theatre, and we hope good things will come of it in the future, and we can do our thing for fan films to support them, and that's about it.
I wanted to add to what Will was saying about his website. He basically is created a hub in the sense he's given voice to people like us who have no voices, or at least a platform to showcase our talents. I mean, where the hell would you go to look for a fan film anywhere? You know, you're going to go on YouTube, you're going to type in... I mean, if you didn't know what the hell a fan film was, and you saw a card that said, yeah, check out the Blue Beetle fan film, like, what the hell is this? I'm going to go on YouTube, and what if it's not on YouTube by chance? What if the person's too stupid to put on YouTube, and they put it on, their own, tripod website, or their own, personal site, and it's QuickTime loaded, and, you just... What he does is great for us in the sense that he has become the Dewey Decimal System of fan films. I say that with pride, Dewey.
Thank you, sir.
And, not too many people would actually devote all their time and sacrifice happiness to actually post stuff about fan films.
Yeah, that makes me feel good, Chris.
Yeah. The other really cool thing about it is the fact that, a lot of folks, if you say fan films, they think of Star Wars fan films, and there's a lot of Star Wars films out there.
Star Wars you put the kibosh on that, thank God.
And you really bring out an unrepresented part of it. Which
I'm bringing
really
kind
cool.
of like the comic book mentality to fan films now. I prefer the comic book fan films, but don't open the, Predator, Aliens, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and all that stuff. So there's a lot of different films in the genre, so...
Star Wars fan films are very commonplace now, no offense to Star Wars fans, and Star Trek fans too, because there's just so many of them. It's like if you see a Jedi at a comic convention, it's like going to Gap. Seriously, there are so many. You can get like a Jedi robe at a Gap now. That's how commonplace it is. So I personally don't consider, no offense, Star Wars fan films to be like so impossible to find. So way to go, Will.
Yes.
So let's pass the mic over to one of those common Star Wars fan filmmakers.
And now...
Dan, you give me your mic.
That's not a segue.
It's ours.
Well, actually, I agree with a lot of their comments. For those who...
Next.
I'm Adam. I'm a filmmaker. I'm a Star Wars fan filmmaker on occasion. And one thing that I try to do in my own work, such as it is to make the kind of Star Wars fan film that you don't expect. I don't make lightsaber duels. I don't make kind of adventures of a couple of Jedi tracking down a dude in a dark robe who says stuff about the dark side. I make fan films that kind of recontextualize and look at Star Wars from a new angle, and that mostly confuse people.
What angle is that?
There are many.
Pretty
I've got a DVD clip.
We running the clips now?
We'll get there.
We have the DVD set to go.
DVD in.
Here we go.
You'll look at the nice
I just used the force to close that.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
But yeah, by way of introduction, like I said, in addition to moderating the Fan Films Board, which is not a full-time job, sadly, not only am I a filmmaker because I claim to be a filmmaker, but I actually do work in movies and TV in post-production. Some of the things that I've done... No, don't play it yet.
Oh, sorry.
No.
I got it.
Everything.
I got it. I'm good.
It's Greedo. Yeah, it is Greedo.
I love Greedo.
Yeah, nobody has Greedo in the Fan Films.
I used to call him Dorito when I was a kid.
That's what I was saying. I
love Dorito. Sorry.
Some of the things that I've done outside of Fan Films, working in a professional environment, is I edited a series that ran on Fox Reality this past summer, or fall, or something like that. I worked on a couple of Spike TV shows about video games. I wrote the short film that's kind of going on festival circuit right now with Mickey Rooney in it. And so one of the things I'm going to talk about besides Fan Films is kind of how I went from being the guy who made fan films with his friends, say hi, Kent, to being someone who's trying to build a career in the world of regular world filmmaking. Because I think that fan films can be a very valuable way to sort of play in the sandbox and learn about movie making, which has been a hobby and a love of my life that's been very good to me. So to introduce clips, my most famous fan film so far is one that I made in college, which is called Run, Leia, Run, which came out in 2003 to a very confused reception, because it crosses Star Wars with Run, Lola, Run.
Oh, that guy's freaking me out, man.
Which apparently not a whole lot of people have seen.
Tell them who's in it.
Like I said, it's sort of an outsiders kind of project. There's no lightsaber duels or fancy effects, but it did kind of nicely at mainstream film festivals. And one nice little piece of trivia that I like is the guy who played Han Solo later went to join a band called the Arcade Fire. Anyway, roll tape.
So we all talked, told everybody why we're there. I was kind of nervous, so I was making like occasional eye contact with the crowd. It was like I was reading off like some kind of a speech, like the president. I was kind of like looking down every couple of minutes, like, okay, I'm scared, and then looking up and talking.
You were gathering your thoughts.
I was. I think I did pretty good, though. I'm usually not a crowd speaker. I'm usually not good at it.
Yeah.
Because I'm very self-conscious all the time. Like, I wonder if it's like a booger hanging out of my nose.
No, you sounded very good. You actually, y'all sounded very good. Y'all sounded very good.
Yeah, man. It's all good. We take all slang here. So anyway. So yeah, we went down the line. Everybody did their thing. And then, people talked and got some questions from the crowd. And there are actually some pretty decent questions you hear from the audio.
Yeah.
Which
the audio was pretty good.
It was cool. And did I pimp out the comic book bin and you by chance? Did I?
I'm not sure. You did mention me, so thank you very much.
Yeah, because I wanted to give you as well as the bin a plug. I don't know if I did the bin or not.
I don't remember.
I'm not sure, but there's a comic book bin for all yous who don't know.
Yeah.
All yous. This is like Archie Bunker Day.
Jesus Christ! Yeah, will you quit it?
Will you
with the
get
fan
on with
films,
the speech?
huh? No more fan films.
Why is this guy dressed up like a fruit? You would totally say that to Chris. With his sky blue leaf.
This Notarile fruit over here. Look at this.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played. Boy, the way Glenn Miller played.
Songs that made the hit parade.
Guys like us, we had it made. Those were the days.
Everybody! Yeah, Edith was there.
What are you going down there for? Oh, I don't know about this, Archie. Oh, Archie. Get your tongue in it a little. Oh my goodness, Archie. Oh, Archie. Yes, Archie. Yes. You want a beer, Archie?
She was asking questions. What exactly is a fan film? Can you please tell me? Shush up, you! You're embarrassing this whole panel.
You just turned into Seinfeld.
Yeah. What is the deal? Why are you insulting the panel? I mean, come on. Who does that? But anyway, so I think all in all, it went pretty good. I would have wanted more time to speak because we only really got a chance to say who we were and kind of quickly why we were there.
Yeah, my impression that even the subject wasn't even remotely touched upon.
Yeah.
It's just about here. This is who we are. This is what we did.
Right.
That's it.
That was pretty much it, right? Yeah. It sucked, man. I wish we could have talked more. I wanted to prattle on about legalities and all that. We did a little talking about that. With the studios getting involved in fan films and trying to shut them down. And
right.
I'm glad we touched on that at least, because that was like an issue I wanted to bring up. Now, we did it. It was the first one in New York. I think it went well. overall.
Lead up to what this Adam Bertocci was doing, because that's where people are going to get lost.
That was funny. I
in
completely
the audio
forgot
bit.
that. We were having a problem with the PowerPoint presentation. Clive was having a bit of an issue with it, and then Dan Poole went to do, Green Goblin's Last Stand to show clips and stuff of him doing the stunts and all that stuff. And he was having a problem with the scene selection, like on a DVD, you have that, the scene selection thing. He was trying to pick out particular scenes of him swinging on the rope, which was like insane.
All right.
And we couldn't click on it. He kept trying it and trying it and trying it. We were having problems with it. It wasn't working. So screw it. He got to show maybe a couple of his scenes and comment on them a little bit.
You were going to explain what Adam Bertocci was doing.
We'll say Mr. B.
Okay.
All right, we'll call him Mr.
Call
B.
him
This
Adam.
is out of respect because I don't want to mispronounce his name. So anyway, they went to go do, after Dan's kind of disappointing presentation, they went to go do Adam, and he had his film ready to show his Star Wars fan film that he had for the convention. He showed Run, Leia, Run, which went well, and then he went to go show his new film. The title escapes me. I forget what it is. Do you know what it is?
I don't remember what it was.
But anyway.
But we'll find out because it's all...
So he goes to play it, and the audio is not working at all. I mean, we're trying everything. Clive's up there jiggling friggin' wires. I'm crossing my toes and my fingers. He was getting it. You could tell he was getting all like upset and embarrassed. People were starting to kind of laugh in the audience. So he gets up off of his chair. He goes, start it over. So he started over, and he gets up off of his chair and starts doing all of the roles, vocals, by himself. So in other words, he starts delivering the lines live on stage that are supposed to, be in the movie. Right. And everybody starts like cheering and cracking up at the same time, and because he did everything perfectly. The timing was so on sync. So that was very cool.
If you've seen Run Lola Run, you've probably got the jokes. If you haven't, you are so confused right now.
I'd like to add at this point, a lot of fan film humor usually helps if you're familiar with the source content. Good tip.
But today, what I'm kind of here to plug, if we can hear it, which may not happen, is my newest fan film, which is another weird one. It's halfway through production. It's set right here in New York, and it's about the gentrification in Brooklyn, viewed through the eyes of disillusioned Star Wars fans. It's about being the value of a Star Wars fan in an imperfect world like ours, where the issues you face aren't a black and white reality play. And it's about holding on to your dreams, even when the Empire, so to speak, strikes back.
Damn the man.
But yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, and surprisingly more ladies than I expected.
On this DVD.
You are the first people to see footage from in this whole premiere teaser from Brooklyn Force.
Do it.
Working on it. Hang on. Bear with
baby.
I got it. Oh, it's playing? Okay. Wait.
There you go.
Reposition the microphone. Yeah. It's just it's coming from up there. Can you get it up there? Spider-Man?
Only you can be so bold. Luke, join me, and together, together we can rule the borough as CEO and Executive Vice President of Marketing. I'll never join you! You already have, Luke. The Force was with you, young hipster, and you sat around watching overrated movies. Who do you think lived here before your pitiful little band? The circle is now complete. You, like your Lower East Side, are now mine. Maybe he's right. Maybe it's time. Maybe I don't want to be shelving LPs when I'm 30. I'll never sell out to the dark side. You failed, Your Highness. I am a record store clerk, like my roommate before me.
In all honesty, we really should just do that for the movie. Like, that should be part of it.
It'll be on YouTube tonight. Brooklyn Force. It makes sense, I promise.
But will we get the con dub?
I'll work on it.
I want the con dub. That was hysterical.
Yeah, that was great.
I came prepared.
You just invented...
Anyway, so unless there's any immediate questions for me, I'm going to, about stuff, I'm going to pass the mic over to my buddy here.
Okay.
Karaoke.
That was awesome.
Good luck following that.
Just
Vito, would you mind putting in my?
I got it.
You know, back in when I got out of high school,
Your initials are DP. I just realized that.
yes, I wanted to be Spider-Man. I wanted to play Spider-Man in the big movie that was allegedly happening back then that I read in a book, and I thought, I have no resume, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll put together a trailer of, I don't know, what should I do? And I thought, screw it, I'll get a costume and I'll just make a demo. You know, get a demo reel together.
Now we can hear it. What the hell, man?
I had a better sound engineer, I don't know. So, looking through that first one.
I got it.
And this is me just trying to get a job in Hollywood. Hey, it's not a comedy.
They're so genius when I saw that. So good.
It's 1992. I've got $400. Yeah, this is a dark scene. But we were on a roof, using a billboard and whatever we could get to make it come to life, just like the comic book. All right, that's enough. If we can get that other scene working, you can see the...
Better than the Hollywood guys, by the way. Maybe we can back up and
I'm working on that one. Hang on a second.
Oh, yeah, and then we had 6 different Green
That was
Goblins.
a gay scene. Oh, wait. Hang on. Come on! Dude, your buttons aren't working, man.
Let's see what the...
You're screwed here. That's just chapter 1 here.
Yeah, this is the first thing on there.
Yeah.
Telling you, it worked. Got the wrong superhero. Thank you. Most people, it's a 50-minute video that I did in 1992. You know, I felt like I needed to get the character on the screen the way it was in the book, so I actually swung around a building, which is what I think it's known for more than anything. There it is, right there in the top left. It's a real shame, but... So anyway, that was, you know, people look at it these days, and I haven't read anything lately online, but a few years ago I was just checking out a message, and like these 15-year-olds were bashing it for how bad it is. And my one response is always, you know what? When you can find a time machine, I'll give you $400 and I'll put you in '92. Good luck. Do see what you can do.
People realize that it was made in '92?
Probably not.
How stupid are people, man?
Yeah, I don't know. So,
put a disclaimer.
I didn't get a job out of that. In fact, many of the production companies that I burst in the door and handed it to were either afraid of me or just didn't want to hire me at that time. So, came back from Hollywood and got busy working on original characters and writing original scripts, and that's what I really want to do. Well, actually, what I really want to do is do Marvel superheroes, but since all those jobs are taken right now, I'm still trying to make a name for myself, making a original superhero movie, which we shot last year, and hopefully I get a chance to show you my 2-minute trailer that I busted my ass all week making before we leave here today.
I'll work on that, all right? I was going to say, don't worry, there is a future in fan film making, for Christ's sake.
Oh, yeah, I didn't mean to say that.
No, like, a lot of us, like, a lot of people here, like, you know, they're hearing our stories and everything, but, like, no one's heard that we actually ever, like, did anything with ourselves yet. I don't think we've gotten to that yet. We do stuff, okay? It's not dirty. We actually have careers. Daniel, go into your career. I have a career. I make movies and stuff. And what's your career?
I make, I'm a freelance producer and editor. I do car ads and industrial videos.
See? That's good.
All right, we'll get through this and then we'll get back to this, if that's all right.
You want to go?
Yeah. Oh, wait.
Give us a lead in.
Hit pause, something. Because what's going to happen, I need to preface this with...
Yeah.
You're going to see the most basic, most elementary, most play school looking special effects. They are simply placeholders, but I just wanted you to get an idea of where actual visual effects will go. So just try to see past the play school looking animated effects that you'll see. Okay?
This is unbelievable.
Believe it.
Thank you very much. So we'll be wrapping that up and trying to get that in festivals this year.
Tell us more about it.
The Photon is the name of the character. It actually originated when a friend of mine called me for the original incarnation of Who Wants to Be a Superhero, and he was working at MTV and said, you gotta, the show, you've got to enter this show. Then I found out, and after I developed this character, I found out they were actually going to call the title Who Wants to Be Made Fun Of. So I opted not to enter the character and decided to do it the way I wanted to do it, with an original superhero, the way we all really enjoy seeing superheroes in good dramatic angst and with great action. So it's really ultimately about not being able to save the people closest to you, no matter how hard you try, if they don't want to be saved. So 2 cousins, 2 superpowers. One goes down the dark path, the other one tries to help him. The other one resents his help. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It'll be hopefully just as exciting as the trailer.
I'd like to respond to a point we were raising earlier about careers, and there's sort of a weird dichotomy in that. Like, we saw in the presentation that a lot of fan filmmakers have gone on to have careers, sometimes directly with the property, with the fan film. That, like for example, Kevin Rubio, who made Troops, who was discussed in the presentation, now works with Lucasfilm and does all sorts of great stuff. But yeah, I think there's some people who believe that fan films are kind of being used almost as sort of a way to try and get in from a certain angle. And
they are,
to an extent, but it's not like a secret door that only we know about that is our magic port key.
Well, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, if you have the skill and the production ability, you can use a fan film as a platform to try and boost your career, like Sandy Colora did Dead End and World's Finest. Even if it's like low budget, I don't spend any more than $100, thank you, on any of my films, and I get a lot of work just based off of the work that I do. We did a Catwoman fan film, and because of what we did with that, we actually got hired by a website to produce a Catwoman-oriented thing. We got hired to do we actually got hired to do a couple of fan films, which is just funny. People actually pay me to make fan films. I think that's hysterical. That's a new one. But seriously, if y'all want to pay me, that's great. I'm not going to laugh at you, I promise.
But yeah, I think there's this constant theme running through that I've been seeing on other panels that I've attended, as a fan of how do I break in, and I think what we kind of represent is a strange bridge between professionals, because many of us, are working in the industry on some level, but by the same token, none of us are famous and being escorted around by an entourage here either.
Yeah,
and
that comes with the territory.
We're still kind of in on this because we love it. And
well, they have to love what you do. You can't make a fan film if you don't love your source material. Otherwise, it's going to suck.
One big thing that I sort of struggled with when I was deciding if I was going to make Brooklyn Force or not was, do I really want to do another fan film? Have I moved past that? Have I done that? And every time I tried to make an excuse, it kind of came back to the fact that I wanted to tell this story about Star Wars and Star Wars fans, and so that's, in the end, that's why I come back to it. And the fact that you can use fan films as a way to get in, and the fact that film festivals out there, legitimate ones, are taking fan films, that's all kind of icing on the cake as we move toward legitimacy.
I think a good reason to make fan films is to, if something sucks so bad out there that it pisses you off to the point where you say
Superman Returns.
Yeah, and you say you could do a better job, that's the reason to make a fan film. I don't think you should make a fan film because you want to become famous. I think using a fan film to help yourself get famous is great, but if the motivation isn't there and the love and respect and the heart isn't there, then you're basically just making, a piece of crap. Yes, question?
Yeah, where do you think you guys will be without the internet? For instance, the internet is this area where you can go, as long as you've got the resources and the drive, to tell your story about your favorite comic book fan or anyone who created it.
I can tell you.
I was going to say, I'd be exactly where Dan was for 17 years.
Yeah.
Yours just for the penalty.
I did, and I got it to the few people that I wanted to see it. I got it to Stan Lee's office, and I got it to James Cameron's office many times because it kept coming back. They're really nice about saying no, we didn't ask for
That
this.
just probably helped you out, though.
Yeah, it was a good life experience if you're into degradation and denial and rejection. But no, we're before the internet. This thing germinated, man. It just took over. I would get phone calls out of the blue. Are you the Dan Poole that made the Spider-Man movie? I'm like, yeah. Yeah, buddy, I gave me your video. I got it in Texas. You got it from somebody in Toronto, and he got it from somebody in... I'm like, what? It just... these kinds of conventions, you know, where people meet, and so without the internet, there was still comic book conventions, and it just went from person to person. It got dubbed and dubbed and dubbed, and so there's always going to be a way to get your name out if you make something people keep wanting to see. The internet, you know, when everybody got a computer in the house around 98, 99, I actually did a little rudimentary search to look for it, and that's when I found that, hey, the internet did catch up with my video. It's for sale! And then I went bananas fighting internet crime.
Yeah. Question.
Regarding Photon Runner, it's something I actually enjoyed the trailer.
You actually enjoyed it.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I would pay money for that before I paid money for like snakes on the plane.
Yeah. Let me
Oh, come on. How can you not like snakes on a plane? There's snakes on a plane. The title is self-explanatory. You knew what you were getting into.
And your question is?
Question. Have you thought about profit, like generating a model for it? Like, you know, you're going to try to get it virally out there. I mean, you've been doing this for years. So, you know, you definitely have a name. You have something for yourself in the industry, in this way, in this format. Is there a profit generating model, like something, profit generating model behind it?
Well, no, the idea to generate profit is to get exposure. And so for me, step one is film festivals. Enter as many film festivals they can be in, especially comic book. San Diego Comic-Con has a film festival, and they welcome content all the time. And we see what kind of notoriety we can get through the film festivals, and then we start to approach distribution companies if they're not already calling us, which is the dream. But definitely YouTube and websites and trying to get everybody. And yeah, I've kept every email anyone's ever sent me about my Spider-Man thing, and whether they're still valid email addresses or not, every single one of them is going to say, "Here's what I'm doing now if you're interested."
Sooner or later, you know, you all have to realize you got to wear a costume to a show like this. I mean, I did a movie. Yeah. I did a movie called Methodic, and I have a killer in the movie, and I had to dress up like him because you got to do that. You need people to see your character, meet your character, either like or be freaked out or whatever emotion you want to get from that character out of people. Desire, yeah. You got to do that. And one of the things that I like doing is the more conventions I go to and the more people that I meet and the more hands I shake, the more of a solid following I build with people. And it helps when getting in as a legitimate guest at the next show versus going as a fan when you want to actually be considered a professional, get a table, and have people fly you out. You're not paying anyone. Now they're paying to bring you out there, and that's happened to me a couple of times. I don't know about you gentlemen, but it's happened to me, and I think it's all due to me, my wife, and my crew going out there and just meeting people, you know, and showing people that we're actually legit and we're not some YouTube craze.
To jump in here for a second, being that nobody could actually see the Iron Fist movie before because the lights were on, we're going to rerun it if y'all don't mind. So let's go back to that.
Can I ask a question before we do that?
Yeah.
So all of you guys have said that you're doing this and you're trying to, like, you know, boost your career, so on and so forth. But when your career gets boosted based off this work, you're going to lose the creativity, the total.
No. Total crap.
To create on the internet your own story.
Total crap. You only get to maintain being creative if you yourself are a smart businessman. If you don't know the business, you're going to get screwed over and someone's going to bend you over a table and say, this is how it happens. But if you know what you're doing, you get to maintain it. And you had a question.
To what this may have been addressed, I came in a little bit late. To what extent have any of you gentlemen been, not to put too much too fine a point on me, fucked with by the copyright holders?
Yeah, it's on the Warner Brothers. I get a annual phone call from Warner Brothers Internet and Piracy Division every year checking up on me.
Watching you.
They tell me they're watching me. There is a file on me in the Warner Brothers vault, and they say, we know what you're doing, we don't like what you're doing, but we can't stop you because you're very clever in the way that you say that you're not selling your stuff, and we appreciate that. Thank you very much. Keep doing what you're doing. Have a good day.
On the flip side, one of the nice things about being in Star Wars territory is that Lucasfilm is very supportive of fan films.
Lucky bastard.
I know.
Yes,
right?
because Star Wars kind of was the big thing through the gates that brought fan films to the internet and into some kind of public eye, I guess.
He's ahead of the curve. I'll give him credit on that one.
Like, Lucasfilm has always been very kind to Star Wars people, and indeed, there's an actual annual contest that Lucasfilm runs with Atom Films, ATOM.
They've always been supportive of it?
No, actually,
they've been...
In the last 10 years, maybe?
Since
what was there before? What was it?
Well, they originally sent cease and desist to one that was made in Australia called the Dark Redemption, but then they changed their mind about it, and they came up with a contest, which, I don't want to take up a lot of time here on it, but basically, it's a really great idea, but you have to follow certain rules in order to get your film entered, and so that keeps you from going into territory that they don't want you to go into. So it's also a suppressive measure on their part. Now we really got to get to the film because we only have about 4 minutes left.
And, the rest of us got to talk to Dan. He got to show, clips of, Iron Fist, and Chris got to show. Actually, Chris didn't bring any clips. He just talked a bit. And Dan, of course, showed his stuff. So, and then it came to me. I didn't really have anything to show. I really wanted to take advantage of the time to, talk about who I am and why I'm there. Yeah. Rather than, we only had 15 minutes each to talk. So I figured I'm just going to spit as much fan film crap out as I can. And hopefully I spit out enough.
You had a question before? Sorry.
I know that a big problem with this whole plagiarizing, not plagiarizing thing is through the music, and because music is such an integral part in the films usually, and it's something that you can notice right away, like in Star Wars. Do you guys use your own music generally, or do you use music?
It happens. I feel that with fan films. Hell, I'm not selling it, so there's no point in worrying about whose music I use. If I ever do anything original, I cannot use any copyrighted materials unless I get the rights to it, or else I'm up shit's creek without a paddle. Pardon my French. But yeah, music is incredibly important, and one of the good things and freedoms with a fan film is that since you're already playing around with something that's not yours, why not just go overboard and do everything you can? Milk it for all it's worth.
Rape Daddy Elfman.
I use original music, but it's by choice because I think it's fun to collaborate with a composer, and just part of making films for me is getting something out of that, and just for my when steal music for one of my original films, I don't want to necessarily go into the John Williams pit for the fan films either, because
well, that's actually a pretty good thing you mentioned, by the way. Wait, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but music. So many people use the cliched things. For Batman, you're going to do Danny Elfman. You're going to do Hans Zimmerman. If you're going to do Star Wars, you got to rape John Williams for all he's worth. No one thinks of being more creative and trying getting music that sounds similar to it, but it's something else. It brings the vibes.
I can mention for one, Aaron Schoenke's father.
Well, his father composes his own music for him,
Fantastic composer, all original, sounds like Danny Elfman, but not. There's a plug.
Yeah.
And with that,
very talented man.
Yeah. With that, I'm afraid we got to get out of here. Peter Petrelli's going to kick our butts. So, thank you all, guys.
We'll be here all week, and be sure to tip your wages. Thank you.
Who's got swag? Do we still think of it?
So that was our thing, and we got a really good round of applause at the end. And we had people coming up to us, asking us questions, and I was happy to answer, and handed out a bunch of CDs I made of our show, along with business cards, and people were very happy to receive that. I believe it was episode number 6 I handed out. So everybody took a copy, whatever. Got to know some people, shook some hands, and then the place started to just kind of gradually empty. But I'm talking a little bit, not much, just a little budge out the door. And I'm like, what the hell's everybody standing here for? Must be somebody big time coming on. But then I remembered, I knew who was coming on after us. If you ever watched the show Heroes, it was one of the stars of the Heroes. He plays Peter Petrelli. He was actually going to be there speaking on behalf of Devil's Due Publishing.
You promoted yourself well, so.
I hope so. I was hoping to come across as representing us in a good way, and representing myself, representing our show, and Fanboy Theatre, and Comic Book Ben. I hope I shouted something out there somewhere.
Yeah, I don't remember. Did you get my email about Dave?
About Dave Noble?
Yeah.
Yes. Talk about that for people who don't know.
Well, Dave Noble is currently stationed in Baghdad. He's been there almost a year, and he was editor-in-chief of the only fan film magazine that I'm aware of, which was called Fan Film Quarterly, which I wrote for a couple articles for one issue, and Will was spotlighted in actually the last issue. So anyways, we're going to speak with him, not live, we're going to record it, but he is going to be in Baghdad, Iraq, and we're going to speak with him about fan films. I'm going to ask him really stupid questions about Iraq, and not about the war necessarily, but about American pop culture, if it's even there. Who knows if they sell a comic book in Iraq? I have no idea.
Dave actually sent me a random email one day. It was good to get it from him. He sent me. He's like, "You're not going to believe this," and I'm like, "Okay." So I was in a marketplace somewhere in Iraq. I was living in Baghdad in Iraq. Yeah, and he actually came across a bootleg DVD copy of Return of the Ghostbusters by Hank Braxton, which was kind of random. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's stuff I want to know.
That shows that we got a little. We're spreading the disease a little bit.
Yeah. So our pop culture is, embedded a little bit over there.
We're making it happen, baby. We're making moves.
I mean, the other thing I know about Iraq and its people is what I basically read on the news, read on the news, watch on the news, read on the news. But that doesn't mean anything. I don't necessarily believe what I see on the news or read in the paper. I take it with big grain, giant.
If you just depend on the news to get all your facts, then
and you're an idiot. That's probably what's a big problem in this country, is that it's all about sound bites and visual bites, and
people don't think about what's behind them.
Exactly.
They just think about what they're hearing on the air, and they're saying, okay, well, if they're saying it on the air or on TV, then it must be legitimate.
Exactly. Very good.
Not always.
If I was there, I'd pat you right on the shoulder.
I'm telling you, man.
So anyways, we're going to do that. If Will is into it, we're going to do that for the 18th, which is a Sunday.
What is that, Monday?
It's Sunday.
Sunday?
It's
sure.
11 a.m. Will you be up?
11 a.m. Oh, Lord, you're asking a lot. To wake the beast at that hour.
Yeah. It's going to be 6 p.m.
Ugly scene. Time to get up.
So this one you got to do because he's already locked in for it, and he only.
That's right. Okay. Well, I'm stuck. It's for Mr. Noble, so I'll do it.
Go to bed early.
I will.
Sure you will.
I'll drink a pint of gin and pass out. Got a radio show tomorrow. Bloop, 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 bloop,
yeah,
bloop,
I guess as long as I'm on a roll, I'd also like to announce Don Glut we're going to be speaking with.
Yes, of course.
He is fan film god as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely.
Pretty much he was doing it before whoever knew what the hell a fan film was.
Like the pioneer, yeah.
Yeah. He was doing it when, fan films.
He did like his own Phantom films. He did the Captain America, Spider-Man.
Yeah.
What else did he do?
Well, he started with dinosaur films.
That's right.
He got into like the horror, like the
Harryhausen.
Yeah, the vampire, Frankenstein, etc. And then when he got older, he did graduate to like Spider-Man and Captain America.
If anyone else out there wants to appear on the show or thinks of a guest that might want to appear on the show, they should get in touch with us. Would that be safe to say?
I actually wrote that on the site.
We're ahead of the game, baby. I don't even know this.
Yeah, especially if it's different genres. Like for example, I put Doctor Who down just for example. I don't give a shit about Doctor Who. If it's someone's out there that we don't talk about, we probably don't talk about it. Either we haven't got to it because there's so many people we want to talk to, or we just don't care about the subject. But let us know about it and educate us and come on and talk about it.
I mean, if I'm speaking for you too, but I'm always getting surprised by fan films. People like sending to me out of nowhere. Like people who send you fan films out of nowhere that you never knew about, like in email. The comic book bin or whatever for you, and Fanboy Theatre for me, and you're like, I didn't even know these films existed.
Case in point, I just posted one on the comic book bin yesterday.
Okay.
Tetris, the fan film trailer.
I saw that. That was really cool.
That was clever. Yeah.
It was. I was like, Tetris. I was like, what the fuck is Tetris?
Right.
And I looked at it and I was like, oh, sweet. Yeah, they handled it pretty good.
If you're into machinima, like video game fan films, like I had Doctor Who again, and I can't really think of other fan film genres that are out there, but if there's something that you want to talk about and you think you have a vast knowledge of it, we'd definitely like to have you on, and I guess that's it.
I'd love to get the listening audience involved somehow, you know?
Yeah, unfortunately we can't really do live call-in right now.
Yeah.
I guess we got to figure that out, but I think
we're working on it.
We're doing fine as far as just having guests on. We have enough freaking people talk to him anyways.
Everybody's been very receptive to the show.
Yeah.
We haven't really had anybody like, turn us down for a review or whatever.
Even we should mention Sandy Cholera.
Yes, of course.
On the show, which is awesome.
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Like if you talk about fan films, you should know about Dan Glut. Most people don't about Dan Glut.
Dan Glut, right?
Yeah, Dan
I think
Glut.
It might be Glut, or I don't know.
Yeah, it might be Glut, like German kind of. But most people know about Batman Dead End.
Yeah.
They really don't know who did it necessarily all the time. Like I'll say Sandy Cholera, they'll be like, who?
Right.
You say Batman with the Predator movie. That's usually how you say it. You go, you ever see that fan film that's Batman and the Predator? And everyone's like, oh yeah, that movie's awesome. It's too short. These are people that don't know about fan films. They're like, that wasn't an hour and a half.
Right.
Instead of 7 minutes. It's called budget, baby. They don't have it.
I'd like to get Aaron Schoenke on. I talked to him a long time ago when he was in college.
Yeah, I haven't spoken to him in ages.
I haven't even asked him. I think we're so booked out until July anyways that I'm not going to ask people.
Yeah, we gotta get Braxton on.
Yeah, Braxton definitely.
Gotta pencil him in. I'd actually like to get Frank Palangi. He does a lot of movies.
I don't know who the hell that is.
He's a young guy. He made a Superman series, Legend of Superman. He did a bunch of Halloween films. Yeah, he puts out a lot of stuff. I'd also be kind of interested in having maybe Dan Nastro on from Confessions of a Teenage Supergirl, the director.
Which we can plug this now. He's actually, the sequel's coming out in December.
Oh, I didn't know that. He didn't email me.
Yeah, I did correspond with him via MySpace, and once the second movie is going to be released online, he did agree for an interview. So that will be coming up in the near future.
Very sweet.
Yeah, so we'll talk.
I didn't know about that at all.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mention it. Yeah.
We can maybe get
business.
Katie Norris on there too.
That would be cool. We can get both
who was Supergirl in the film.
time.
I really liked that movie.
So did I. It was very well done.
One of my favorites.
Yeah, in the comic book bin, I don't really put movies on there that I don't like. So.
Like sympathy movies.
What do you mean by sympathy?
Movies that you know are bad, but you just don't want to hurt the person's feelings.
Exactly.
Sympathy movies.
Exactly.
I'm the proud creator of a sympathy film. Please hand me the gun.
There are rules. If it's a character I've never seen and even know it was badly done.
You just want to see it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, hey, I did a Machine Man film.
Yeah.
Like, reach into the obscurity part of your brain if you're a comic person. All right, my friend.
All right, sir.
We should probably sink the ship now, because we're dying.
All right. Thanks for tuning out.
Yes. I'm here, and I'm gone.
Talk to you later.
Take care, bro.
See ya.
Bye.